Cheap home decor is ruining your home because you are not decorating for you anymore. You're decorating for Instagram, Facebook mums, or whatever Target decides is in that month. And honestly, it shows. I'm sure you've probably seen the same coffee table book that no one ever reads. Or how about the same IKEA shelf everywhere you turn? Or maybe you've just seen the same neutral tones slowly infiltrate every area of your life. Your personality gone. Where are your weird hobbies, your family memories, the stuff that makes your home yours? Cheap home decor is an addiction and it's ruining your home. But we didn't always decorate this way. Once upon a time, people bought what they needed. The idea of seasonal home refreshes, that came from the same guy who helped sell cigarettes to women in the 1920s. And his name was Edward Bernays, also known as the father of propaganda. His work was pivotal in shifting the minds of Americans and people globally.
The way to sell product was not to sell it to your intellect, that you ought to buy an automobile, but that you will feel better about it if you have this automobile. I think he originated that idea, that they weren't just purchasing something, but they were engaging themselves emotionally or personally in the product or service.
Bernays believed people didn't make decisions logically. They responded to emotion, desire, identity. He used that psychology to sell products not just for their function, but for what they symbolized. His campaigns taught industries how to sell want instead of need, and from there, consumer culture was born. But we aren't in the 20s anymore. It's been over 100 years since his work. But once the internet came along, it started to sell us more stuff, but not just more stuff, more of the same stuff to all of us. Edward Bernays may have been the one to teach us to want stuff, but the internet has taught us to want all of the same stuff. At first, it felt like freedom, no more relying on design magazines or your nosy neighbor down the street. Now we had Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, a constant stream of inspiration from all over the world. But here's the catch. Inspiration slowly became imitation.
This, and this, and this, they're the same thing.
The algorithm doesn't reward originality. It rewards what works, what's safe, and what is already trending. So when a beige living room goes viral, we get hundreds more just like it. Not because it's the best, but because it's the most visible. We think we're choosing what we love, but we're really choosing what we've seen over and over again. You might have seen this graphic, or maybe you've seen this one. Regardless if you've never seen them before, both tell a very chilling trend: the grayscalification of the entire world.
The color white, for example, is painted on 39% of cars around the world, then black, with gray and silver following behind. The most popular non-neutral color, i.e. one that isn't simply white, black, or some shade of gray or silver, is blue.
A 2020 study by the Science Museum Group analysed over 7,000 everyday objects from 1800 to 2020. The result? A steady decline in rich, diverse colours, and a takeover by muted greys, beiges, and neutrals.
Beige unscented candles for the willingly bland come in an assortment of beige shades, but not too many shades. There are 5.
That might sound like a design issue, but it's much more than that. This is what addiction looks like. Not to a colour, but to familiarity, to the sameness, to safety, to the familiar dopamine hit for fitting in. And now we're starting to see every shelf look the same. Even influencers' homes look eerily similar, when every influencer's living room blends into the next. We're not choosing these pieces anymore. We're defaulting to them. Algorithms show us what is currently trending and what is already working. Brands then double down on those things so then they can sell more product. Fair enough. But the problem then becomes is that we end up having a shrinking pool of things that we can purchase because brands don't want to step out of line and potentially not be able to move their stock, and the algorithm wants to make sure people are on the platforms for as long as possible. So inevitably what ends up happening is this sameness happening over and over again. But cheap decor doesn't just look safe. The price itself is part of the addiction, because low cost lowers the barrier. It makes impulse buying feel harmless. For example, a recent survey of consumers in Lima found that when prices are low or promos are frequent, people are far more likely to buy things unplanned. And when people are feeling down, bored, or anxious, they will often make small purchases just to feel better. Decor becomes retail therapy. The cheap price makes the guilt smaller, so the gratification comes faster.
She wanted a new bedroom set. She wanted a brand new set, even though we had a good one.
What? Why? You already had a good one.
So we got a new house, and I wanted the house to look good.
You
and the one that
spoiled brat. You think you're entitled to everything. It's disgusting.
I wanted our house to look nice.
Yeah, wanted. I've never had it. I never had it. Shut the f up. No one gives a f except for you.
Pause the video 1 second. I really want to show you this quickly. So these were my most recent unexpected purchases. They were from Walmart. They were $7 each, and they are adorable. Admittedly, I did not need them. But they're so cute. Let me know in the comments below what your most recent accidental purchase was, especially if it was home decor like this. Let's get back to the video. That combination of everything that we've just spoken about, including the visual echo chambers, the cheap pricing, and emotionally triggered marketing, fuels the cycle. It's not just that we want what's trending, we want it cheaply, quickly, and with minimal friction. But now let's talk about the design side of things. What does it do to our homes? Sure, it may look good on a screen, but it doesn't say anything about us. Our homes have become stage sets, safe, neutral, curated to fit an idea of taste that has been mass produced. And the irony is that the more that we follow these trends, the less satisfied with our homes we become, because you are constantly going to want to go ahead and be up to date, because otherwise it will feel out of date. And there will be nothing that actually ties you to the space, so the only thing that you can have it be tied to is the fact that it's trendy. That revolving door of cheap purchases creates clutter, and although clutter isn't inherently a bad thing, when it's poorly produced crap that you won't even want to try and keep, it further boosts other problems like its effect on the environment. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can choose pieces because they reflect you. Maybe they have historical significance that you find interesting, maybe it tells a funny story, or maybe you just like it because it perfectly resembles you and your personality. Shop secondhand, do a weird DIY to reuse what you already have, frame your kids' artwork, put that weird ceramic frog your aunt gave you front and center. Because when your home truly reflects you, it doesn't need constant updating. It just needs to be lived in. Now, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about design and how to make your home feel a little bit more like you, make sure you check out this video next, and I'll see you on the next design adventure.